Okay, gently in your own way, just bring yourself back, so to speak, but stay present. Allow yourself to really stay attuned within. Very important. I'd like to talk about attention, some details that may be helpful to you in your practice and discovery. I mentioned at the beginning of the sitting attitudes that are profoundly helpful. I'll repeat those because I think they're worth repeating a lot. Just because our habits are like rubber bands, they're like springs that spring us back into conditioned unconsciousness. So we learn to give ourselves instruction without judging ourselves. And this is something I think is very important, to be very mindful. I may have to put my sound cast back. Very mindful of whether we're judging how we're doing right now. Like, oh, wow, I'm here in the satsang and I'm feeling so-and-so, it's not working. Or I'm feeling worse, or whatever. It's so easy to get into reactivity and caught in the identity of the reactor, of the judge. And so what's the way to work with that is simply notice it's happening. That's step one, right? Oh, wow, I'm really beating myself up. I'm really having a hard time. So maybe that's the step in the right direction of acknowledging that you're not happy right now, that you're sad, or that you're disappointed, or even disillusioned, or whatever, unfulfilled, that you want to relax and you're not, whatever it is. And what that brings up is the power of attention. We don't realize this until we learn and deepen in our practice that attention is a force of nature. It's a power. And for most people, it's pretty undeveloped, or it's only narrowed in some area where someone has excelled, let's say, in their life, or developed in their life. So they put their attention in a certain place, whatever that is. But when you're developing sensitivity awareness, as we are, and consciousness development, it's very important to understand the power of attention and to begin not to believe this, because I don't teach beliefs. I teach ways of paying attention, and you get to find out how it works in your own individual, unique unfoldment. Everybody's unfoldment and healing process and transformative process is completely unique to the individual. The essence of that is universal. It's the presence that connects us all. It's what we call the oneness, the no self, the, all of it. The countless writings about it for millennia. So, where you put attention, energy goes there. And that is why so many practices train breathing awareness, because breath is very much a part of the life force. And if you do yogic practice, you learn pranayama. If you do martial art, you learn about chi and ki and about the energy of breath. And as you sit and meditate and follow the breath, the energy of the breath begins to open up blocked channels in the nervous system, begins a deeper process of healing of mind, body, emotion, and the release of spirit, so to speak. So you may think that just paying attention to your breath is boring or isn't doing anything, but that's when you need to also build into your practice questioning. So you don't get caught in being the believer. Because the one who is the judge is a believer. is an identity of separation and defense. It's a protective dynamic. So don't judge yourself, because on an ego level, on a survival level, we are trying to stay safe and healthy, right? That's more in our face, so to speak, now than ever. And so it's fine to want to be safe. It's fine to want to be protected on a relative level. Of course, no blame. So but then when you're healing and you're in a safe space, which you are right now, but maybe it doesn't feel safe to you for whatever reason, allow yourself to give attention to that which isn't comfortable, which is vulnerable. But don't push. Don't try to get rid of it. Be careful of wanting to understand it, because that's an avoidance of it. You can think about it another time, but now is time just to open to it. To just be here and direct attention. So you'll notice that where you put attention, energy goes there. So if your feet are on the ground, ask yourself to be aware of your feet and notice, or some part of your body that's in contact with your cushion or your chair or your couch, whatever. And notice, oh, wow. As I put attention there, as I direct my attention there, all of a sudden I'm more aware. It seems so simple, but honestly, it's important. Because awareness builds on itself naturally. So the awareness of breathing is a beginning practice, very important. It's also a very advanced practice, where you allow the breath to breathe itself. And when you begin to feel the chi and the energy moving through your body, you may not feel it at all. So I would say be aware of the breath and just have an image or a sense or an outline of your whole body. Or maybe a part of your body that's been having difficulty, or an emotionally contracted part of your body. So you're aware of your breath and you're aware of your body at the same time. You're not doing something, you're not trying to get a result. You're just simply experimenting with how you give attention. Pretty soon your body, your process will tell you what to give attention to. Not, hey, John, pay attention to that, even though kind of it works for me that way. So it will. You'll go, oh, you mean that pain in my chest? Yeah. That ache in my back? Yeah. That grief that I don't want to feel, that fear, that anger towards my body, whatever. Yes. Just don't push anything. We're not trying to get a result. If you're trying to feel better, that's what you want to pay attention to, is the trying, the wanting. Be aware of, or I don't want that. I don't want to feel this. Be aware of that. That's what you give attention. Don't think about it. Just allow this vapor of your attention, the sunlight of your attention, to permeate, to be with what is. So we have this time where we get to explore. I can't tell you how much I love my practice in the morning, which has evolved over 5 decades. And is more amazing every day, and I discover every day. Sometimes it's difficult, but I know that if I don't show up for myself and do what has become the evolution of my practice, just the conditioned channels start to get clogged up with energy. I can still function really well and be pretty good all around, but I guarantee you when I give that attention and I make that time, and it isn't a lot for me actually, makes an extraordinary difference on the relative level that's also connected into the infinite level. So it's not that I'm identified with being a practitioner or that I'm creating a dualistic separate self. Not at all. Not at all. It's so extraordinary to live life and understand that each moment that you give attention to whatever is practice. Not in a self-conscious way, but literally in an enlightening way. So when you eat that delicious morsel of food that your favorite thing, whatever that is, you are there for it 100%. Your mouth is watering, you're just smelling it, you're tasting it, and your whole body's going, thank you, wonderful. And that's the other part, most important part of practice in terms of attention, is developing gratitude. Because fascination, curiosity, and gratitude all open the heart, open us to receiving. And if you're wanting to be healed and you're wanting to be transformed and you've got a wall up, guess what? No deal. No receiving. How can you receive on the other side of a wall? An impenetrable, unsurmountable wall. Impossible. And that's how, when you feel in despair, that's when you feel hopeless. That's when you're pissed off at the world and God and everything else. Or whatever you're pissed off at. Your parents, your partner, your whatever, your kids. COVID. Politics. Shall we list them all? Yeah, plenty to be triggered by. Plenty. Wow. All I have to say is talk about the raw materials for transformation. Yeah, this is why I want to say thank you to you, and I really love it even more if you could say thank you to yourself for, throwing away $20 and signing up for today and showing up for yourself. Because when you really show up for yourself and give attention deeply within yourself, you know what? You're not only giving to yourself, you're giving to everyone. And life begins to flourish and be beautiful. Our relative survival mind wants answers. And on a relative survival level, do the best you can to get those answers. And keep trying this and that and this and that and whatever you need to make your life work for you. On all levels, whether it's your health, your finances, your relationships, your work, whatever. Life is a journey on many levels, many, many, many levels. But as many of you are discovering and have found, that when you awaken, when you begin to have the glimpse of what's possible in terms of fullness of life, then that works together with relative life. And as it's been said, practice really begins with the discovery of your true nature. Because that gives you an understanding profoundly that your attention is a force of nature. And how you direct it, and where you put it, and how you how you allow meaning to be created is an extraordinary journey of evolution. And I have to say that I am constantly transformed and evolved, and sometimes it's very, very, very painful and difficult, and yet on the other side of it, it is gloriously, amazingly wonderful. And I am profoundly fulfilled in that, and in a way that I never, ever could have known or believed no, not possible. So that's you. It's not me. It's not someone else. It's not some teaching or teacher or path. It's truly the essence of what you are. And you're being guided. You're being compelled to discover it and find it. And so that's why I'm saying thank you. Because we're on this journey together, all of us. We are all here equal. I am learning from you constantly. We are all learning from each other, and we're all learning from our own discoveries. What a joy it is to be here and share that with you.